everything about our worship service is theological. It has a theological basis for it, or it should have. There's a tendency, for example, in some churches today to turn down the lighting during the worship set or the congregational worship. And that says something about what they think it is. We're trying to personalize it, make it just me and God. And it's not that. It's a congregational thing. We should be able to see each other. So the decision, for example, to keep the lights up during worship is an important one. Similarly, the songs we choose massively impact our understanding of God, of who He is. Long after the preacher's voice is silent, the person in the congregation, when they go home, will be singing the songs in their head. The lyrics will be going round and round and round. It is said that a church believes what it sings. And that should terrify a lot of pastors today, because a lot of the songs we sing in church tell us how to feel about God, but they don't tell us much about Him. They tell us that God is great and God is good, and we should be grateful and we are thankful, and that God is on our side, and that God defends us, and that God affirms us. And while many of these things are in fact true, one of the main reasons we sing songs in church is to learn, to understand, speaking to one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, giving thanks unto God. And in another passage is also used for correction as well. And so as we choose our songs for the worship service, we need to be careful to choose songs that not only glorify God, but also speak of His work, speak of who He is. We need songs that tell the story of God, the story of His works, the story of who He is, His majesty, His glory, His greatness. Songs that just tell us how to feel about Him don't really achieve that, because they're temporary, they're fleeting. My feelings change from day to day, from minute to minute, sometimes from second to second. I need something that will underpin it, a foundation that will go underneath it. Martin Luther once said that he would not have any young man trained, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, he would not have any young man trained as a preacher, except he first be well exercised in music. Now, I think that's a good idea. Martin Luther had a very high view of music, and he saw it as a powerful tool in the church. But I would turn that around a little bit. And having experienced many of the contemporary songs that we sing today in church, I would say I would not have any young person trained and tolerated as a songwriter, except they first be trained in theology. And songs need to be theologically correct. They need to be doctrinally rich. They need to tell us about Jesus. They need to be Christ-centered. They need to be Trinitarian. They need to explain and underpin our understanding of the faith, so that when we leave the church, when we go home, when we're driving in our cars, the words of these songs are going round and round in our mind and reminding us that God in three persons, blessed Trinity. It's something to hold on to know something of the majesty and the power of God in our lives. And just telling us how to feel about that power isn't enough.